Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the respiratory system overview. We will understand about the little bit about the physiology and anatomy. So let's begin to understand. We will learn from the person here is which that's contain upper side is the sinus, paranasal sinuses is the frontal and sphenoid. Below the sinuses is the nasal cavity is the nose. Nose contain nasal cavity is the upper part and the nasal concha as well as the nasal vestibule. This nasal vestibule is used for the inspiration and expiration of the oxygen, while our mouth also used for the expiration and inspiration. So this is the vocal folds, and this vocal folds is upper part is the epiglottis, which that is used, and here is the pharynx. So the epiglottis is used for the here is the larynx, and larynx is used for the voice, and the epiglottis is used for the closing of the airways while opening during the inspiration or expiration. And thyroid cartilage is present where the thyroid gland are present, and circoid cartilage. So anyhow, let's understand further. This is the movement of epiglottis. This epiglottis movement is for closing and opening for esophagus, because the esophagus when open, the epiglottis will be closed into the trachea. So this is the trachea will divide it into the carina, and the 12 pair of rib are present. This is the right lung and left lung. This left and right lung is covering via 12 pairs of ribs. Two are false rib or floating ribs, and these lobes are present. It can be divided into the lobes, and this esophagus will open when so the breathing will be stopped. Trachea and the bronchi ring are present, surrounded via airways. This is the left lung, which that contain a superior apex of lungs, and this is the apex of lung, and this is the inferior lobe. This is the cardiac notch where the heart is present. This is the lingula, and here you can see this is the for right lung is the superior lobe, and this is the horizontal fissure which can be separate the lungs, and the oblique fissure, and the here is the inferior lobe. So we are dividing the different lobes of the lungs because the different lobe uh, partial pressure of the oxygen and carbon dioxide is more or less on the basis of their division. This is the intercostal muscle attached with the rib, and this is the diaphragm, and pleural cavity is separate the ribs, and the basically the cavity between the lungs and intercostal muscle. Diaphragm is used for even inspiration, so it will less doom like, while the expiration will produce more doom like, and this is the autonomic movement of the muscle on the basis of requirement, on the basis of partial pressure changes. This is the photosynthesis. When the carbon dioxide exhale will use for the photosynthesis in the plant and produce byproduct as a oxygen will breathe in. So that is why the oxygen is more in atmosphere as compared to the carbon dioxide, 21%, and here is the partial pressure of oxygen more in air, but the carbon dioxide is less, and in the lungs is more. So the carbon dioxide will move out while the oxygen will move in. Let's understand about the alveoli. This is the basic structure and functional unit of the alveoli, further divided into the air sac. This is the pulmonary vein, contain oxygenated blood, and pulmonary artery contain deoxygenated blood, opposite in the circulatory system. And this is the basically is the uh, atrium, and this is the connective tissue, and alveoli inside is the mucus lining or surfactants. On the other hand, this is the capillary bed surrounding the alveoli for oxygenation and deoxygenation. On the other hand, the mucus gland. Let's understand about the exchange of gases. So here is the oxygen pressure, partial pressure will be increased, will move into the blood circulatory system and bind with the hemoglobin. And in this way, the RBC will combine the oxygen while the carbon dioxide detachment, because the affinity with the oxygen will be more as compared to the carbon dioxide, and move into the blood circulatory system from pulmonary vein, from pulmonary artery. Let's understand about the immunology. For example, when you will smoke, the allergen will enter, as well as pollen will also enter from the plant, and the innate immune cell will be activate, like macrophage will clear this pathogenicity like others. But also the here is the infection through bacteria or virus will produce inflammatory cytokines, will recruit the dendritic cell, and in this way the dendritic cell will recognize the pathogen or other type of the pollen or allergen. We recognize the adaptive immune cell T cell, naive T cell, will give the signal to the B cell to produce B memory cell and the plasma cell. In this way, the plasma cell produce IgE antibodies, which that will bind with the Fc portion of the mast cell. This is the innate immune cells, and produce after the degranulation the histamine. Histamine will bind with the histamine 1 or 2 receptor on the several part of the body or airways. The will lead to constriction. So in this way, the bronchoconstriction will be occur, will lead to cause coughing and other allergic reaction and inflammation. Anyhow, let's begin to understand the circulatory system and how our lungs can work. This is the superior vena cava and this heart, and inferior vena cava. This is the descending aorta and aortic arch aorta, and this is the right atrium and right ventricle, and left atrium and left ventricle. Right atrium and right ventricle is superior and inferior vena cava used for the deoxygenated blood move into the right atrium to the right ventricle, while the left atrium and left ventricle is used for the oxygenated blood move from the lungs into the through a pulmonary vein into the left atrium to the left ventricle into the aorta, and in this way the oxygenated blood will move throughout the body as a systemic circulation, while the deoxygenated blood will move as a pulmonary circulation for oxygen. So inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide will occur. In this way, you can understand by this easy diagram. Oxygenated blood will move into the as a systemic circulation into the several tissue for oxygen, and in this way, the oxyhemoglobin will provide the oxygen to the tissue, especially mitochondria. After the glycolysis, the pyruvate will be entered into the mitochondria. So the Krebs cycle and electron transport chain require the oxygen. So the oxygen is important, and in this way the aerobic respiration will occur in the electron transport chain and Krebs cycle, and anaerobic respiration is known as glycolysis. In this way the efficiency of ATP is very important, and carbon dioxide dissociation as a byproduct will bind with the hemoglobin. Affinity will be increased in the tissue, while the detachment of the oxygen affinity will be increase. So detachment will be more oxygen, while the attachment of carbon dioxide will be more attachment. So in this way, the affinity with the hemoglobin with the oxygen is less in the systemic circulation, while the pulmonary circulation will be increased due to the configuration will change of the oxygen of the RBC. So this is the simple mechanism you can understand, that is the systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. For aerobic respiration, it is important for the normal metabolism. Respiratory health, we can understand the smoking quit, use mask in pollution, aerobic exercise, use inhaler for lung health, and morning walk as well as grow plant for increase the oxygen for better respiration and aerobic respiration to enhance the metabolic reactions and the metabolism. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.